Paratmanamekam jagadbijamadyam niriham nirakaram onkaravedyam yato jayate palyate yena vishvam tamisham bhajeliyate yatra vishvam. Hari Om Tat Sat. Hari Om Tat Sat. Hari Om Tat Sat. Dear devotees, so we were studying the 9th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. In the last class, we had seen Sri Krishna is presenting to us the all-pervasive nature of Brahman. Brahman's Sarvatmakata. Brahman's Sarvatmakata means here everything is pervaded and soaked in this reality called Brahman. There is nothing existing apart from Brahman. That is the point. It's a very interesting thing. See, it's practical application. Nothing is theoretical here. Experience is a very big thing in life. We are all continuously undergoing experiences, is it not? This class itself is an experience, anubhuti. Through the sense organs, you are looking at me, I am seeing you, we are hearing noises. Everything is an experience. Is this experience possible without the presence of God? Our every experience is soaked in the presence of Ishvara. There is no human experience, no means absolute sense. There is no human experience possible without the presence of Ishvara. Upanishads. We are completely soaked in it, but it's a great mystery that we are not understanding it. There is no experience possible without the presence of consciousness. Any doubt? Everything, whether it is the waking state which we are experiencing, whether it is the dream state which we are experiencing, or whether we are in deep sleep, all the three states are completely soaked. I repeatedly use this term soaked, just like you soak a cloth in water. We are completely soaked in Ishvara, Brahman. This is the Upanishadic vision. Not God in this form, this darshan, that darshan. We are waiting for God to come. So this is what Krishna was telling in the last 4 verses, from verses 16 to 19. Where Sri Krishna is beautifully giving us this vision that, my dear children, please understand, there is nothing existing apart from me. Me means Brahman. Krishna is saying, Krishna is using the pronoun me, me, me. There is nothing existing here without me. What a beautiful vision it is. He said, I am the sacrifice, the Vedic sacrifice, the Smarta sacrifice. I am that food offered to so-called forefathers and the different gods and goddesses. I am the food eaten by the general creatures. I am the mantram. I am that offering which we pour into the fire at the time of sacrifice. I am the fire, and I am the act of offering itself. Of this world, I am the father, I am the mother, I am the grandfather. I am the thing to be known, and the way to know me is Om. A very important point. These are all beautiful statements. The most supreme way to know this reality is Om. Nothing can be equated with Om. Everything else comes later as a helping factor. But the supreme alambanam, the supreme means, the device to know the supreme reality is Om. Brahman is the thing to be known, and the means to know Brahman is Om. And who can teach us about Om? Vedas. Rik Sama Yajure Vacha. Rig Veda. This knowledge comes only from the Vedas and the Upanishads, no other books. We can read hundreds of such different books written by this person, that person. Vedas, they belong to a different order of reality. Upanishads, they belong to a different order of reality in which you will never find any mumbo jumbo. This darshan, that darshan, nothing. We never encourage this darshan business. It is Atman, now itself, here itself. In the Upanishads, it is not the question of seeing this form or that form. The essential thing in the Upanishad is the total elimination of ignorance. Avidya nivritti, ajnana nivritti. This we should understand repeatedly. Often devotees are, they are made to think of seeing this form, that form. Even if you see form, if the ignorance is not gone, it doesn't take us anywhere. Ignorance has to go away. Avidya nivritti is the way. That is what is the Upanishadic religion. No mumbo jumbo, no weakening mysticism. Swami Vivekananda repeatedly says these are all weakening mysticism. He says, very strong words he's used. He says that your nervous system is weak, eat some strong food. Swamiji would say. These are all just weakening things. Upanishads, no weakness. Its clarity is the vision of reality. There is nothing existing apart from this one reality, even now, this very moment. Ishvara or God is not something to come later. Here, no experience is possible without the presence of Ishvara. This drishti has to be cultivated by slowly evolving from the lower visions. This is the supreme vision which Sri Krishna is presenting, that everything is Ishvara and Ishvara alone. So of this world, I am the father, I am the mother, I am the grandfather, I am the thing to be known. And the way to know this supreme reality called Brahman is Om. And from where do we get the knowledge of Om? It comes from the Upanishads. From Rik Sama Yajure Vacha. And this supreme reality is our gati, our destiny. It is the bharta, it is that which nourishes us. Brahman is our gati, Brahman nourishes us. Brahman is sakshi, a beautiful term, the witness of the three states, sakshi, nivasaha. Brahman is the abode. So beautiful term, all these things we discussed in the last class. Where are we living? Just tell me. We are always living in Ishvara, not Antalya or Gold Park or Bombay or Kolkata or New York, not even this loka or that loka. Wherever any jiva is existing, that jiva is existing in Ishvara. We have no other address. Abode, nivasaha. So beautiful. Everyone, we are right now existing in Ishvara. There is no other place. Sharanam. This Ishvara, this Brahman is the very place of refuge. When we take refuge in this drishti, that alone puts an end to all our sufferings. Sharanam is that place where we go and take refuge. Where do we take refuge? Ishvara. If you take refuge in any worldly thing, it is only going to complicate the matter. It is not going to solve our problems. So, ultimate place of refuge is Ishvara and Ishvara alone, this Brahman. There alone all our so-called afflictions and miseries will come to an end. We have no other place where we can take refuge. Sharanam. Suhrit. God alone is our friend. Shankaracharya says. Prabhava pralaya. Ishvara is that place from where everything emerges, and it is that place into which everything merges. Everything has got this one Ishvara as the very foundation. Everything is emerging from this, everything is merging in it. Sthanam, it is the very foundation. Adhishthanam. Nidhanam, beautiful. Nidhanam means what? Storehouse. Ishvara is that storehouse which is inexhaustible. Amazing thing. Another term to understand Ishvara, I always say, Ishvara is what? Inexhaustible abundance is what is Ishvara. Any doubt? Ishvara is that abundance which never gets depleted. You may have a bank account, that is also a wealth, abundant wealth. You may have a lot of money with you. But when you begin to use that money, it begins to get depleted. But Ishvara is that storehouse from where we are all drawing everything. Every jiva is drawing everything from Ishvara. We are drawing our breath. We are drawing our life force, prana. We are drawing everything from Ishvara. Is Ishvara's abundance getting depleted or exhausted? Ishvara means inexhaustible abundance. So beautiful. Shankaracharya says this, Dhanam. And Ishvara is, this Brahman is avyayam bijam, that seed which is immutable seed. And it is this Ishvara in the form of sun which gives heat to this world. And through that it is bringing forth rains, and it is also withholding rains. So whatever is happening in this Prakriti, it is fully soaked in Ishvara. That is the point. And Amritam Chaiva Mrityuscha, I am death, I am immortality. In both it is Ishvara. You can see a dead body going into the furnace of the cremation place. A beautiful scene. The best place to remember God is to go to the cremation ground, not temple. The best place to learn the lessons of life is not temple, but the cremation ground. Literally, spend a few hours in the cremation ground, you will come close to reality. Rest all we are just imagining. The best place to come in touch with reality face to face is the cremation ground. When you see this body, which we are clinging so much, put into the furnace, who goes with it? Who is yours here? Even your body doesn't belong to you. It is all turned into ashes within a matter of few minutes. Gone. Is the person gone? Nothing has happened to the real person. That real person is absolutely intact. Sakshi. Nothing has happened to that entity. The body, the covering has gone. So beautiful. I always say, in Kashi, people go to Kashi. The most beautiful place in Kashi is Manikarnika Ghat. Go and sit there for half an hour. You will literally come close to God. Cremation ground is the most beautiful place to come in close contact with the Supreme Reality, where all our delusions, all our cloudings of the mind, me and mind, all kinds of worldly attachments, infatuations, everything will go away. When you see this body, it is nothing. It is simply thrown away. The body which we are clinging to so much, literally it is thrown away. What is the value of this body? This body has got only one value. It is meant to attain this experience. If this body is not utilized for this, that is the greatest blunder. Anyhow, so this is what we had seen. And Amritam Chaiva Mrityuscha. Krishna is saying, I am both death as well as immortality. And I am both the cause as well as the effect. In short, Krishna says, whatever is appearing to exist here, it is all me and me alone. There is nothing existing distinct from Ishvara. This is the vision of the Upanishads. This is the great teaching from Sri Krishna. This was the great teaching coming from Shankaracharya, and this is the great teaching coming from Swami Vivekananda. All of them singing the same song. Remember, there is no new teaching anywhere. This idea of new, we are simply deluding the people. It is the eternal teaching which alone saves the human being and the so-called society. So this is what Krishna was telling. Brahman's Sarvatmakata, from verse 16 to 19. Now, this is the supreme reality. Now, those people who don't understand this, those who think that there is a second entity apart from God, a second entity called world. This is world and God is something else. This is the problem. We are constantly living with this attitude. From the day we were born, we are continuously living with this attitude that what we are seeing, this is Jagat, and God is somewhere else, we don't know, we imagine. Then it's a free rein for imagination. Bhagavan in this form, that form, here, there, it's all then. It's an open playground for all kinds of imagination. This is the idea with which we are usually used to live with. In that case, then, when this is the world, then we will have all kinds of desires for this world, desires for worldly things. Then we perform actions with worldly desires. What is going to be the consequence of this? Desiring the things of the world, wanting to enjoy the things of the world, with the knowledge that world is a real entity, what is going to be the consequence of this attitude? This is what Krishna is going to discuss in the next two verses. Very beautiful verse. It indirectly tells us the importance of becoming desireless. Now see, Krishna is touching upon a very important point here. Here Krishna is going to tell us the consequences of having desires for the things of the world. And when we perform actions with desires in our mind, its consequence is going to be of one kind. Indirectly, Sri Krishna is telling us the importance of desirelessness. So here in the next two verses, the topic is Sakamata and Nishkamata. The consequences of having Kamana in the mind, and indirectly Krishna is telling us the importance of being Nishkama, to be desireless. Now this is the central idea of the Upanishads. This is what is spiritual life. True spiritual life is not the question of seeing this form and that form. You see one form, heart is full of desires. What is the point of this, seeing that form? If the heart becomes desireless, you are truly spiritual. Because when we are desireless, something wonderful is going to happen. That is what is going to come in the next few verses. So here, Sri Krishna is saying in the next two verses, as I said, the topic is the consequences of having desires. Bhagavad Bhaktanam Nishkamanam Eva Muktihi. There is one principle. Bhagavad Bhaktanam Nishkamanam Eva Muktihi. Sakamanam tu Sansaram Eva Gatihi. For those who are bhaktas. Now again, bhakta means what? What we studied in the earlier verses, that is the true bhakta. A bhakta sees Bhagavan alone everywhere. He doesn't see world. For a bhakta, Bhagavan alone is existing. That is the highest kind of bhakti. So this kind of a bhakta who sees Bhagavan alone everywhere, who is nishkama, that person alone accomplishes khandana bhava bandhana. This person who is desireless, who is a devotee in the truest and the highest sense of the term, this person alone accomplishes khandana bhava bandhana, breaking away from the bondage. Opposed to this is the person who is full of kamana, sakama. So, what is going to be the consequence of the person who is full of desires? Sri Krishna is telling that beautiful in two verses. He says, Traividyamam somapa puta papa yagyai rishtva swargatim prarthayante te punyamasadya surendra lokam ashnanti divyan divideva bhogan te tam bhuktva svargalokam vishalam kshine punye martyalokam vishanti evam trai dharmyamanu prapanna gata gatam kama kama labhante. Krishna is saying here, what do these people do? Which people? People who have desires in their mind. What do? Traividya mam somapa putapapa yagyai rishtva. Through yagya. Now, this is of course Vedic background, which we should imagine. It is during Krishna's time. At that time, yagya was a common thing. Yagya was a very common, it was a daily affair. Agnihotra and different kinds of yagyas was a common daily, day-to-day householder's life was full of different kinds of yagyas. And people used to do these yagyas with different desires to attain heaven, to attain wealth. It is just like today we don't do yagya, we do many other things in order to attain wealth, to have a house in Switzerland. It is just like going to heaven. In the olden days, people would imagine they want to go to heaven and they are doing certain yagya. Today we study, we do certain things so that I can have a house in, say, somewhere in Netherlands, Switzerland. All these things. Means we are having different desires and we are doing things to fulfill those desires. That is the main principle. Heaven or this place or that place, wealth, whatever it is. These are the different objects which we aspire for, and then we do action in order to get these desires fulfilled. So Krishna is saying here, yagyai ishtva. In and through these different yagyas, these people, they worship. And how do they worship? Traividya. Traividya means these people, they are knowers of Vedas. Knowers of Vedas means knowers of Karmakanda. Here it means to Karmakanda, rituals. Different rituals done with desires for the attainment of the different things of the world. So these people, they are all knowers of Vedas. In the modern sense, those who know the different ways of earning money or attaining the so-called things of the world. Knowers of the Vedas means today those who are well trained, educated and skilled, they know how to make money to fulfill their worldly desires. That's all. The context is different, but the principle is same. Knowers of Vedas means knowers of Karmakanda, the different rituals which will fulfill their worldly desires. So these people, they are knowers of Vedas. They are somapaha. Somapaha means drinkers of soma. Now, soma is a juice. In the Vedic rituals, there is a use of this juice extracted from a plant called soma. This is no more existing. This plant and its juice is considered to be indispensable for all Vedic sacrifices. Actually speaking, they say that this drink has got such exhilarating influence on the body and the mind. It invigorates the body, it cures the body of several ailments, and it brings tremendous clarity to the human mind. So it was a very sacred drink, an extraction from a certain plant, and this juice was indispensable in all Vedic sacrifices. So soma is a plant, and the juice extracted from the soma was an important ingredient in all Vedic rituals. That is the point. So the drinkers of soma means those who worship different deities, doing rituals in which this drinking of soma juice was one of the factors. Means those who do rituals. Somapa, Putapapa. Putapapa means the soma is such a drink that it cleans the whole system. It purifies us. Putapapa. So by drinking the soma juice, they become purified and they perform rituals, they perform yagya, and they worship the different lower deities. The different lower deities. That you will find even today. People go to this God, that God, the God of wealth, God of health, God of so many things, and they're all true also, they're not false. They are not altogether false. They are there, they are the different focuses, the different centers of power in this creation. And usually people go and fall at the feet of these so-called limited centers of power to get certain advantage. So these people, full of desires, they perform these rituals and they propitiate the lower divinities. And why do they do it? Swargatim prarthayante. Swargatim. They want to attain heaven. They want to go to Switzerland. So if you want to go to Switzerland, then you have to do certain things here. You're not just going to land up there. You have to work hard. You have to get a job. You have to earn money. You have to please your bosses in your offices. And then after doing all those things, one day you will be reaching there. It is just like that. In a very rough manner, I'm making this comparison. The tendency and the principle is same. So Swargatim prarthayante. They are doing all these things to attain heaven. And through these rituals and actions, they punyam asadhya, surendra lokam. Asadhya means having attained. They will attain that surendra lokam, that lokam, Indra lokam, the abode of Indra, the heaven. They will attain merit, punyam. Punyam means merit. By this good karma, ritualistic karma, they will be attaining punyam, merit, and through that they will be attaining the heaven which they wanted to attain. And ashnanti divyan divideva bhogan, and there they will enjoy all divine pleasures. Deva bhogan. Deva bhogan means the bhoga, the pleasures which usually gods enjoy, you will also enjoy that. Divi. Divi means in heaven. After having attained this heaven, they will be enjoying all kinds of divine pleasures. It is just like, as I said, today people would want to go to this place, that place, and enjoy the so-called, enjoy through the body and the senses different pleasures. That is what is worldly life, with all desires. Now, what is going to be the consequence of this? We worship different lower deities with desires, worshipping the lower deities with desires to attain heaven, and you do attain heaven. But is that a permanent attainment? If you go to Switzerland, you have to come back. Similarly, if you go to heaven, after having done these rituals, you have to come back from there. Once your merit is exhausted, you have to come back. That is what Krishna is saying in the next verse. Tetam bhuktva swargalokam vishalam. They are having enjoyed vishalam swargalokam. That swargalokam, that vast heavenly abode, the vast heavenly abode, having enjoyed the pleasures there, kshine punya martyalokam vishanti. Once your punya, your merit is exhausted, martyalokam vishanti. Once again, you have to come back to this martyaloka, this human plane. So that is not our permanent abode. That you got owing to your certain karma, sakama karma. The karma which you performed with desires, that took you to certain place, and from there, when the merit was exhausted, once again you fall back into this so-called human plane. Kshine punya martyalokam vishanti. Evam traidharmyam anuprapannaha. Anuprapanna means those who follow. Those who follow what? Traidharmyam. Traidharmyam means the rituals of the Vedas. Means those who do sakama karma. Those who do actions filled with worldly desires, what is going to be the consequence? Gata gatam kama kama labhante. Kama kama. Those who are desiring to fulfill all their desires, kama kama. Desiring to fulfill all their desires, kama kama. Beautiful term. Now see, we are all actually living that way. We are living to fulfill all our desires. Wanting this, wanting that, wanting to go here, there, wanting to go to this loka, that loka, all kinds of desires. What is the consequence of this? Gata gatam. They keep on going and coming, going and coming. This going and coming, this is the fate of these people who perform actions with desires. Gata gatam kama kama labhante. Their only fate is going and coming back. Going and coming back means going to heaven and again falling back into this mortal plane. Going to heaven and again falling back into this mortal plane. In the great Shankaracharya's language, so beautiful, so awakening. I keep on saying that. Punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, punarapi janani jataresha. So beautiful. Punarapi jananam. How he is saying, the words are so awakening. Again we are born. Again we die. Again we enter into the mother's womb. How many times we have entered into the mother's womb? Again back into that very place. Iha samsare khaludustare. What a tragic thing it is. We are trapped in this going and coming, going and coming and going and coming. What a beautiful statement from the great Shankaracharya. Absolutely incomparable. That's why Shankaracharya's works have got no comparison, truly speaking. His clarity, the penetrating power of his words are simply incomparable. Again entering into the mother's womb. Iha samsare khaludustare. How difficult it is to come out of the cycle of birth and death. Kripaya pare, pahi murari. Lord, out of your grace, take me out of the cycle of birth and death. Pahi, pahi means protect. Protect me from again getting into the cycle. Pahi murari, hey murari. Here murari again, it is not murari, is referring to that Parameshwara, Brahman, nothing else. It is only by having the knowledge of the Supreme Reality, knowledge, jnana vihina sarvamatena muktim abhajati janma shatena. You may do this, you may do that. As long as we don't attain the knowledge of who I am, there is no escape from this cycle of birth and death. It goes on, round and round and round. This is going on. Gata gatam kama kama labhanti. Now this is the consequence of people who have desires, who work with desires in their mind. See, consequence of kamana. So, introducing these two verses, it was stated that Bhagavad Bhaktanam Nishkamanam Eva Muktihi. Mukti is meant only for Nishkamis. Great principle. We all chant Khandana Bhavabandhana. It is not going to come by seeing this and that. It is coming only from Nishkamata. To become desireless. To rise above all worldly desires. Khandana Bhavabandhana. This breaking away from the bondage of this so-called Mithya Jagat. It's possible only by becoming desireless. There is no other way. Nishkamanam Bhagavad Bhaktanam Eva Muktihi Sakamanam tu Sansaram Eva Gatihi Praptihi. For those who are Sakamis, those who have desires, their Gati is this. Gata Gatam Kama Kama Labhante. This going and coming, this keeps on going on. There is no other way. So beautiful. So indirectly, Sri Krishna is telling us the importance of Nishkamata. Now comes a beautiful verse for which we have been waiting actually. Even I was waiting for this verse. Amazing verse. And Shankaracharya's brilliant introduction. Now Shankaracharya says here, so the way to come out of this predicament of birth and death, the circle of birth and death, way to come out of this is Nishkamata. You become desireless. How do you become desireless? When you know that where is Jagat? It is all Ishvara. What will you desire? See, you connect it with the earlier verses. In the earlier 5 verses, Sri Krishna was telling us that there is nothing existing apart from Ishvara. This is true bhakti. What did Sri Krishna teach in the 7th chapter? Let us go back. This verse is connected to so many things in the Bhagavad Gita. The 7th chapter, Sri Krishna had told what is true bhakti. 4 kinds of bhaktas. Chaturvidha bhajante mam, jana sukriti norjuna, arto jigyasu, artharthi, jnani cha bharatarshava. 4 kinds of bhaktas. Artha, one who is suffering, and because of his suffering, he is falling at the feet of something higher in one way or the other. Artho, jigyasu, who is wanting to know what the supreme reality is. Artharthi, one who is wanting to get the so-called good things of this life and world. And the 4th kind of bhakta is jnani. Very important. And then Krishna said, Chaturvidha bhajante mam jana sukriti norjuna arto jigyasu arthati jnani cha bharatarshava. Tesham, and this jnani is the most dearest to me, he had said. Why he is dearest to me? Because in his vision there is nothing existing apart from me. This jnani is the true bhakta. Now see, jnana and bhakti, they are not two different things. We reach the climax of bhakti when we understand there is nothing existing apart from Bhagavan. That is the true bhakti. And in this bhakti will come absolute nishkamata. What will you desire? There is no room for desiring anything. When we begin to understand that there is nothing existing apart from one reality, Brahman Kali, Kali Brahman, Brahman Shakti, Shakti Brahman, this is what is the whole of the thing. Whatever we are experiencing, it is Brahman, Brahman Maya, Maya Brahman, nothing else. Brahman and Brahman's own Maya, that's all. They are not two different things. When I am saying Brahman, that's why I am not using the term and. It is not Brahman and Maya. It is Brahman Maya, Maya Brahman, that's all. It is Brahman. Brahman and Maya are not two different realities. What are we experiencing here? It is Brahman Maya. Now what can you ask for? This is what is Ishvara. There is nothing to ask for here. Here Brahman alone is existing. This is Saguna Brahman. In this drishti comes spontaneous nishkamata. Now Shankaracharya says, if we all become nishkamis, it's a very important point. Brilliant. Bhagavan Shankaracharya says, you see, if we all become nishkamis, becoming nishkamis, how? By knowing that there is nothing but Bhagavan Ishvara alone. But at the transactional plane, at the plane of this body, see, this body has to survive. It needs food. It needs certain basic things to be supplied to it. Very important question. I won't desire anything, because in my vision there is nothing but one Ishvara alone. Now, who will take care of the requirements, the basic requirements, the physical requirements, the things which will go into the sustenance of this body, nourishment of this body as long as it is alive? As long as it is alive, it has to be given certain food and certain basic things, is it not? Who will take care? If you completely give up all your desires, then how is this body going to be maintained? Very important point. In answer to that is this next verse. A person who has developed this vision that Ishvara alone is existing, and because of which he has become absolutely nishkama, his requirements are looked after by Ishvara himself. What a beautiful thing it is. And it is so true. So true it is. Now see what Krishna is going to say here. Beautiful verse. Krishna is saying here, Ananyas chintayanto mam ye jana paryupasate tesham nityabhiyuktanam yogakshemam vahamyaham. This Nishkama Bhakta, this Jnani Bhakta, this Bhakta Jnani, I'm using this term. We have got a bad habit of thinking that Jnani is different, Bhakta is different, Bhakti Marga is different, Jnana Marga is different. A Jnani is a true Bhakta, and a true Bhakta will be a Jnani. They are not two different things. In Advaita Drishti is the climax of Bhakti. All the greatest Advaitin in this history was Shankaracharya. Absolutely, there is no doubt about it. What he gave to the world is absolutely incomparable. Till the end of this creation, it will go on. His every words are so powerful. This greatest Jnani was also the greatest Bhakta. Full of bhakti. Look at his compositions. Heart-melting compositions. Full of bhakti bhava. Coming from Advaitic vision. Swami Vivekananda, Ramakrishna, all of them were Jnani Bhaktas, Bhakta Jnanis. Sri Krishna himself, Bhakta Jnani. So, here, Sri Krishna is saying, this Nishkami, a person who is absolutely desireless, and he has become desireless because he is seeing nothing but one reality. There is nothing to desire here. Now, who is going to take care of his basic requirements as long as his body is alive? Krishna is saying, Ananyas, every word is important here. Every word is important. Ananyas chintayanto. Chintayanto means constantly, your Shankaracharya says beautifully, one who is having this vision. Actually, Chintayanto means thinking, or you may say meditating. One who is constantly having this vision. Now again, vision not of this form and that form. Vision of Bhagavan alone is existing. Whatever we are seeing, it is all Ishvara. This Ananya, Shankaracharya says, this vision of non-separation from Ishvara. Again, I repeat this point. Ananya. Anya means what? Separation. Something distinct. Ananya means non-separation. One who has got this vision of non-separation. Non-separation means what? There is nothing existing apart from Ishvara or Brahman. Chintayanto, one who thinks constantly in this line. Now see, this is also our practice. This is what is real spiritual practice. The struggle to cultivate this vision. Ananyas chintanam. This constant activity of the mind, which is full of this idea that there is no second entity existing apart from Ishvara. This vision, it's a spectacle. It's a lens which comes only from the Upanishads. Again, I keep on repeating this point. This vision does not come from any other book. This Tattva Drishti does not come from any other book. This Tattvik Drishti comes from only from the Upanishads. Sri Krishna is saying, one who has got this vision, Ananyas Chinta, this constant vision that there is no second entity existing apart from Ishvara, I, you, and everything, there is nothing but Ishvara and Ishvara alone. This is Ananyas Chintanam. Ye jana pariyupasate. A person who is worshipping the Supreme Reality in this way. This is the supreme way of worshipping Ishvara. Not that localized idea of God. God localized, personalized in one form, in one place. This is word, that is God. That is good in the beginning. But as we evolve in spiritual life, Shankaracharya says, what we are seeing, it's all nothing but divine. It's one divinity. So, Ananyas Chintayanto, this Ananya Chinta, that God alone is existing, in this way, Ye Jana Pariyupasate. And Pariupasanam, beautiful term. Upasanam means what? Worshipping. Again, Shankaracharya. Upasanam means worshipping. Pariupasanam means worshipping God in everything and everywhere. Pari means in everything. Pariupasanam. Every term is important. Not upasanam only in temple, only in one certain form. Your Ishvara is in every form. Every man, every woman is the form of Ishvara. This is pariupasanam. Now see, this is what Sri Ramakrishna was saying. Shivagyani Jiva Seva. You understand? So beautiful it is. They are all telling the same reality, same truth. So pariupasanam, worshipping Ishvara everywhere and everything. So, Ananyas Chintayanto Mam Ye Jana Pariyupasate. The person, that great Bhakta Jnani or Jnani Bhakta, who worships God in this way, worshipping God, Ishvara, everywhere and everything in a non-different sense. No, he cannot desire anything. But his requirements are fulfilled by Ishvara himself. Tesham nityabhiyuktanam. Sri Krishna is saying that this person is nitya abhiyukta. Nitya abhiyukta means he is united. He is united with the Supreme Reality eternally. Nitya. Nitya means always. He is in an unbroken manner united with the Supreme Reality. Tesham nityabhiyuktanam. These people who are in this way connected with the Supreme Reality, yogaha kshemaha vahami aham. What a beautiful assurance it is. This person's requirement, as he cannot desire anything, he will not desire anything. For him, Ishvara alone is existing. For him, whatever he needs, I will supply, and whatever he has, I will protect. Two terms, beautiful terms. Yoga and Kshema. Yoga means what here? Yoga means to acquire the things which we need, and Kshema means after acquiring it, to protect it. Now, both these activities will be taken over by Ishvara himself in the case of this kind of Jnani Bhakta, who doesn't desire anything. This is how his basic requirements will be taken care of by Ishvara himself. What a beautiful thing it is. Now, this is the consequence of being totally Nishkama. That Nishkamata comes from that Jnani Bhakta's drishti, that Ishvara alone is existing. His basic requirements, yoga and kshemaha, aham vahami. It is I who will be supplying things which he needs because he won't desire. For him, I alone exist. So all his basic requirements will be supplied by me, and the things need protection also. And it is I who will be protecting those things which he has with him. He is not doing anything. What a beautiful thing. This is one of the most beautiful verses of Bhagavad Gita, which every spiritual aspirant can keep as an ideal, and also the practice. As we grow in spiritual life, this should be the attitude, to live with that vision of ananyas chintanam, that there is nothing existing apart from Ishvara. That is the highest way of upasanam. Upasanam means worshipping not only in temple, but pari-upasanam, worshipping everywhere and in everything. For this person, all his requirements will be taken care of by Ishvara himself. What a beautiful point it is. Now, Shankaracharya, in his commentary, again beautifully says, in that case, he raises an objection. Now, this is in the case of this Param Bhakta Jnani or Jnani Bhakta. But what about those people, others? Is not God taking care of their requirements? Okay, we have not raised this state. Most of us, we are thinking that this is world and God is something else. What about these people who are having desires now? They have desires. They act with desires. So in that case, so is God partial? Ishvara partial? That in the case of this person, this Jnani Bhakta, God takes care of all his requirements. But what about the other people? We all belong to the other category. So what about our requirements? God will not take care of our requirements? Shankaracharya raises this objection. And he says, yes, God takes care of their requirement also. In everybody's case, it is God who is taking care of our requirements. But, there is a big but here. Shankaracharya says, but in the case of other people, they themselves, they take the initiative. Other people, they themselves take the initiative and they make arrangements for themselves. That's why I don't interfere. All the other people, you see, they are doing sakama karma. So they themselves are busy making arrangements for fulfilling their own requirements, and they are busy protecting what they have with them. So I don't disturb them. Let them do it. I will come into the picture when they have completely surrendered to me. Then it is my job to see that what that person needs will be supplied and what that person has is protected. So beautiful, how true it is. As long as we egoistically we take initiative to get things, then God is Upadrashta, Anumanta, Bharta, Bhokta, Maheshwara. That is the 13th chapter. Then God is just a witness. But Ishvara will actively come into our life as a supplier and protector to, especially to this person who is completely given to Ishvara and Ishvara alone, who is Nishkama, who doesn't take any egoistic step to get things and to protect what he has got. Now you can look into the lives of all the great people. Sri Ramakrishna is the best example before us. All the things which he need, from where is it coming? Is he egoistically taking any initiative to fulfill his physical demands? So many rasadars coming into his life. So many people coming to supply what he needs and also to protect what he has with him. Yoga and Kshema is taken care of by Divine Mother herself. Sri Ramakrishna is one example, but this is equally applicable to all the so-called Jnani Bhaktas. Nothing exclusive about Sri Ramakrishna. Let us make this point clear. This is in every Jnani Bhakta's life. It will happen to your life, into my life also. This is nothing exclusive to any one person. We should first come out of this idea of exclusivity. This is all open to all of us. The moment we come to this kind of a vision that God alone is existing, and when we become completely desireless, our requirements, the basic requirements for the sustenance of the body is fulfilled by Ishvara himself. And even the protection of those things which we have is done by Ishvara himself. So beautiful. So Shankaracharya says here, what about the other people? Yes, in their case also it is God actually protects, but God doesn't come into the picture because in their case they themselves take the initiative. They themselves egoistically, they work to get things and to protect their things. So I don't come into the picture. But in the case of this Jnani Bhakta, he has completely given up. He doesn't have any desires. So his basic things are supplied by me and I protect the things which he has with him. So beautiful. Now the next verse, introducing the next verse, Shankaracharya says here, you see, beautiful thing. Earlier we had seen that your everything is Ishvara's form. Is it not? It is all Ishvara only, nothing else is existing apart from Ishvara. Introducing the next verse, Shankaracharya says here, if you yourself are the other gods, the lower gods, so many gods, people worship so many centers of power. This Devata, that Devata, Shani Devata, Manga, Navagraha Puja. So many things are there. People go and do this Navagraha Puja to get so many worldly benefits. And these are all true also. This is not some fancy. This is true. At the lower plane, that is a reality. It works. So all these people who go and worship different divinities, lower divinities, do not these people also worship you alone? That is the question. These people who are worshipping the so-called lower divinities, this Devata, that Devata, Shani Devata, Varuna Devata, Navagraha Puja, this Puja, that Puja, whom are they actually worshipping? They are all actually worshipping that Ishvara alone without knowing it. They think that this particular small deity is fulfilling their wish. It's a beautiful vision now. All the so-called different acts of puja and worship which is going on, worshipping the lower divinities, so many temples, Navagraha Puja, this Puja, that Devata, this Devata, people go and worship to fulfill all their worldly desires. The question is, whom are they actually worshipping? That is the question. Sri Krishna answers. He says, Ye pyanya devata bhakta yajante shraddhayan vitaha tepi mameva kaunteya yajanti avidhi purvakam. Krishna is saying that yepi anya devata bhaktaha, these so-called devotees of anya devata, they are all devotees of this divinity, that divinity, a god who supplies wealth, another divinity which gives you good health, and so on. The devotees of these different deities and different divinities, yajante shraddhayanvitaha, they worship them with all shraddha. You can see tremendous shraddha in them. But actually, whom are they actually worshipping? Tepi mameva kaunteya. They are all actually worshipping me alone, that Parabrahman alone, Ishvara alone they are worshipping. But how? Avidhi purvakam. Avidhi purvakam, Shankaracharya says, not knowing, in ignorance. Avidhi purvakam means they are worshipping me alone without knowing it. Somebody may be doing this puja, Navagraha puja, the Shani puja, that puja. They are all worshipping that Ishvara alone, but without knowing. Avidhi purvakam. So wherever the act of worship is going on, it is all the worship of Brahman alone. As I said in my earlier class, we are all worshipping Brahman alone. There is no exclusivity about any one particular form. Whether it is your Ishta may be one, maybe Ramakrishna, somebody else, Ishta is something else, Shiva or Vishnu or Krishna or Ram. There is no exclusivity. These are all the forms of one Parabrahman and Parameshwara alone. Everywhere it is Parabrahman alone which is being approached and which is being worshipped. This is the great vision of the Vedas. So let us not be confused. We are all not the followers of Ramakrishna, Krishna, Rama. No, we are all followers of Brahman actually. We are all Brahmavadinah. Brahmavadi, Shankaracharya says. Brahmavadi. Brahmavadi means the seekers of Brahman in and through the different forms. That is the position. Now the picture becomes clear. Whom are we actually following? Following means what? You are going behind something. Whom are we actually pursuing in life? Not this form, that form. We are all pursuing Brahman and Brahman alone, which is our true nature. That's the only meaning of religion. Nothing else. Universal. That's why, see, this Hinduism or so-called Sanatana Dharma alone can be the universal religion in which there is no exclusivity about anything. So Sri Krishna is saying here, the different deities worshipped by different devotees, they are all actually speaking, worshipping me alone, but without knowing it. Avidhi purvakam. Sri Ramakrishna says, Joto Mat. Joto Mat means what? Different ways of upasana paddhatis. They are all worshipping one Brahman only, that's all. The other different ways of reaching the same Brahman, same thing. Now, the same idea continues in the next verse. He says, Aham hi sarvayajnanam bhokta cha prabhureva cha natu mam abhijananti tatvena taschavanti te. They are all worshipping me. Krishna says, Aham hi sarvaya. Achha, they are all worshipping me. How? The answer is this. Aham hi sarvayajnanam bhokta cha prabhureva cha. Of all these different acts of worship, yajnanam, of all these yagyas. Yagyas means what? Different ways of worshipping. Who is that entity who is receiving all this worship? It is I who am. If somebody is going and doing some worship in the Navagraha temple, if somebody is going and doing some puja in the Shani temple, who is actually the receiver of all these pujas? It is Brahman. Brahman is the bhokta, the receiver of all the kinds of worshippers. Aham eva sarvayajnanam bhokta. I am Brahman, that Parabrahman, Ishvara, is the receiver of all the so-called pujas, yagyas. And Prabhu, I am that Lord, the Self, evacha. Natumam abhijananti. But these people, they don't know. They think that they are worshipping some Shani Devata, or this Devata, or that Devata. That is the reason why tatvena taschavanti. They fall from their supreme possibility. Falling from that supreme possibility means what? If they had worshipped Brahman knowingly, their destiny would have been different. Not knowing that they are worshipping Param Brahman, they think that worshipping their particular small deity. The consequence of that is going to be, again, world. Chavanti means they fall back into this world. If they had consciously worshipped Brahman, that consequence of that worship would have been, they could have broken away from the cycle of birth and death. But because of not knowing, because of ignorance, when they worship the so-called, with the attitude that this is a small divinity from where I can reap this benefit, with this attitude when you worship, the consequence of that is what? You once again fall back into this plane of mortality. Tatvena tas chavanti. Chavanti means you fall back into this world of mortality. One more word, I think. Beautiful. Same thing, same idea is continuing here. Worshipping Parabrahman and worshipping the lower deities. Two consequences. Yanti deva vrata devan, pitrin yanti pitrivrataha, bhutani yanti bhuteja, yanti madhyajinopimam. So beautiful. Those who worship gods, so-called lower divinities, they will attain to those planes. Those who worship, say if you worship a particular deity, you will be attaining to that particular plane of existence. And those who worship Pritris, Yanti Devavrata. Devavrata means those who worship the different divinities. They will attain to that plane. Pitrin Yanti Pitrivrataha. Those who worship the Pitris. Pitris means forefathers. They will be attaining that plane of existence. Bhutani Yanti Bhuteja. Those who worship the different creatures, different kinds of worship. People at different levels of evolution are worshipping so many things. So they will be attaining to that particular plane of existence. Madhyajino. But those who worship me, they will be attaining me. The principle is that what you worship, that you attain. You worship the Supreme Reality Brahman, you attain Brahman and you become liberated. You worship the lower realities, we attain those lower planes of consciousness. Now this is all the subject matter of worship. Let me just wind up this session here. So in the last class, the discussion started with that vision that there is nothing existing apart from Ishvara. This is the one recurring theme which we have seen in all the chapters. Whether it is the 15th chapter which we started with, in 13th chapter, in 7th, 8th, 9th, now everywhere Bhagavad Gita has got only one thing. It is showering the nectar of non-dual vision. Advaitamrita Varshinim. The more and more we cultivate this non-dual vision, Ananyaschantanam. What Sri Krishna is saying here, Ananyaschantanam. This is the takeaway of this class actually. This is real bhakti, this is real jnana. Knowing that there is nothing existing apart from Ishvara. This Ananyaschantanam is the real upasana, real worship. Seeing everybody as divine. So, when you have this vision, the consequences of that is that you break away from this bhava bandhanam. Mukti is possible only when you have this vision. Opposite of that, when you have desires, kata gatam kama kama labanti. When you have desires for the things of the world, our destiny is that we keep on going and coming. Again we are born, again we die. And then different. In ignorance, people worship different divinities. They don't know. They are actually worshipping God and God alone, Ishvara alone. Not knowing that they are worshipping that Supreme Ishvara, they again fall back into this world. Those who worship the lower deities, they will be attaining to those planes. And those who worship me, Ishvara, they will be attaining Ishvara. This is a simple principle. Now, this very idea continues in the next few verses. Beautiful. They are very beautiful verses, the simple practices of true bhakti. Now, this Advaitic vision gets expressed in your life, in my life, in the form of simple acts of devotion. Beautiful. Krishna will say, how will this person worship? patram pushpam phalam toyam yo me bhaktya prayachati. Beautiful. Simple action, no complications, no big this, that. People make a big I should not use those words, but worship is something absolutely intense. The real worship is that vision. Ananyas Chintanam is Pariupasanam. Krishna says the real worship of Ishvara is that vision of non-duality. When we begin to see that only one divinity alone is existing, that is what is the real worship. Pariupasanam means seeing one Ishvara everywhere. That is the act of real worship and devotion. And that gets expressed in beautiful, simple acts, which will be touched upon in the next few verses. Now, till the end of the chapter is the same theme now. It will end up in some beautiful clarion call of Sri Krishna, where he says, Manmana bhava bhakto, madhyaji mam namaskuru, and so on. We'll say it in the next verse. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Tat Sat.